One played the game for a decade. The others talked about it for longer than that. Together, they're That Other Baseball Show.
It's time for another edition of That Other Baseball Show. I am Jason Page. That is former big league reliever David Aardsma. We got a lot to do over the next 45 minutes or so, and a lot of baseball to talk about, David. And it was not a good week for a couple of pitchers. Of course, I'm going to start with pitchers. I'm hosting the show with a pitcher. Let's start with Ronel Blanco. Boy, the darling of baseball earlier this year, of course, with the no-hitter. Then he came back and almost threw another no-hitter the next start. He had like 5 no-hit innings. One of the bright spots for this Astros team. He gets banned for 10 games on Thursday for a sticky substance. He was thrown out of a game earlier this week. You've been around the game a long time as a pitcher. The sticky substance checks didn't start until you were probably out of the game, and you were just out of the game. Give me a sense for the difference between this being called cheating and maybe this just being an issue with the interpretation of the rules. I heard Dallas Braden talking about the humidity in Houston, almost defending Blanco in that spot. They obviously didn't have any issues with him in the starts before this. They're always spot-checking gloves. What do you make of the Blanco suspension?
It is so easy to talk about this and throw the hashtag cheating, anything with the Astros cheating. Yeah. So easy to just blanket call it cheating. Cheaters. It is not cheating. It is not cheating. It is a different ball game than when I played. When I played, I'd have sunscreen on my arm and I'd get rosin. I'd look umpire right in the eyes as I'm blatantly getting rosin and sunscreen and creating a concoction on my arm. But this is a pitcher, and this is a frustrating moment for me because you can't touch it. We can't see it. We can't feel the glove. We can't feel the hand, and we're having to trust these umpires on their judgment of what's sticky and what's not. It's so subjective, and baseball has become a sport where there's not a whole lot subjective anymore, right? Everything's quantifiable. Everything's a digital and a number. And this is like the one thing that it's so frustrating because they're taking this glove and they're measuring it or they're testing it, they're feeling it, and it's like, bam, you're suspended. And then a Yankees pitcher gets to go in the dugout and wash his hands, and it's so hard to tell.
But here's the thing, and I guess I'll ask this: how in that situation, when you have umpires after the game, I think it might have been Laz Diaz, who, by the way, Laz Diaz was a home plate umpire when I was a bat boy in Double-A. True story.
There you go.
It might have been Laz Diaz, one of the umpires who did the pool report after the game, said it was, in all the time they had been checking for sticky stuff, they said it was the stickiest they had ever felt. And again, I don't know how you quantify that. Is it 1? Is it 10? Is it 8? Is it 7? I don't know how you quantify that, but it's got to count for something.
Yes, and you have to trust the umpires, and these guys are doing it. They're not trying to screw players. They're not trying to go out there and just get them and get them on something. It's more than just rosin. Like that's so rosin's really clear, really obvious, and rosin should stay pretty white or skin colored until you add something else to it. And if they're grabbing the glove and that's what they're inspecting, that's when it starts getting really shady to me. And that's when you start knowing somebody's adding something to the glove to try to get an idea of the game. And Dallas Braden talking about how it's very humid in Houston that day.
It's always humid in Houston. It's
always Houston, and it's always humid, and that might actually mean that it probably was something really sticky. Like that to me is actually showing that would be a reason to have something sticky. And if you can't pitch with rosin in this game of day and age, you're taking chances. And for him, for being the darling, the no king, and having such a great season and such a bright spot for Houston, it's kind of like a slap in the face. It's everything's going wrong, and it's just a little bit, one more little slap.
And look, this is the Astros season in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, this is what's happening with this team right now. Not anything that can go wrong is going wrong. And then you have Alex Bregman, who struggled. I still think they're going to get it figured out because nobody's running away in that AL West right now. Just to kind of broaden the picture on this conversation about the Astros. To me, I still think they got a chance to sort of get it sorted out.
Yeah, they're only 5.5 games back. They're 6-4 in their last 10. And it's crazy. They're only 5.5 games back, but they're 7 games back from 500. So they're not far off. They're not far off on the pace that the division is setting. And that's all that really matters now. And they're still the Astros. They still have all the pieces there. You're still looking at this team going, man, like if this goes right and this goes right and this goes right. And we can't say that about a lot of teams at this point. No. And so this is the one team we can kind of gravitate towards and go, okay, they won 2 out of 3 against Detroit. They swept the Athletics, or they've won 3 so far, going for their 4th against the Athletics in a row. Like that's a game changer. And then, yeah, we're saying it's the Athletics at this point. We're talking about the Athletics, but they're playing good baseball. And so if you can take that, and they're winning 2 games where it's 93-92, and now they're 2-1, 3-0. They're winning small and big games. That's when you start seeing the turnaround on a team. You win close games and you win some blowout games.
Let's talk about a pitcher that was much touted ever since he got drafted a couple of years ago. He's the son of former big leaguer Al Leiter. Jack Leiter is really struggling here over his first few starts in Texas. He got roughed up badly by the Guardians this week. I said it right. I said Guardians, not the old name. We didn't even have to do it in 2 takes. The Guardians roughed up Jack Leiter. There are people saying, all right, send him down. Go let him go get it right. Go figure it out there. You can't get it figured out. I don't think you can. Can you get it figured out at the major league level if you're a Jack Leiter, or do they need to send him down?
This is like a worst case scenario for the Rangers, right? They're struggling. They've had a whole lot of, they're especially struggling as a starting pitching staff with help. They need guys. They are screaming, just give us serviceable, healthy starting pitchers. And you have the number 1, like basically pitching prospect in baseball, and he just can't give you what you need. And that's so tough to see. He's got I believe the 3rd worst ERA to start a career over first 3 starts, like in the history of Major League Baseball. That's tough. That is really tough. And we're looking at a pitcher who has just dominated in AAA this year. Dominated AAA baseball, and you can't blame the baseballs because they are the same now. And when I played, they were 2 totally different baseballs. It was different games. It's the same across the board. So now I'm looking at this saying, okay, they sent them down. You got to get down there and you got to figure it right. I don't think you
is
get
it mechanics.
This right
I mean, what do you see? You know, we're looking at highlights right now as we talk. But I mean, what do you see? You know, is it something mechanical? Is it something that, you know, Mike Maddox can fix? What do you see?
I'm seeing 2 separate things. I'm seeing a jump in walks per 9 and a lowering in strikeouts per 9. Those are 2 things, and they're usually pretty work together. So what he's getting is a whole lot of swings and misses in the minor leagues on balls that are out of the zone. And now, right now, he's not getting that. He's not getting the swings on those pitches that he needed before. He's probably not missing the zone as much as he has in the past. What I mean is, within the zone, he's probably just as good with command. It's just that out of the zone, he's getting swings and misses in AAA baseball, which he's not getting right now. He's giving up a home run ball a little bit. That's going to happen, but he's not getting swings and misses out of the zone. He has never had a strikeouts per 9 below 10, and he's sitting at 6.8 right now. He's 13.1 in AAA baseball, which is great baseball. Don't downplay that. That's really good baseball. So for me, I would be sitting there and saying, okay, how do we get these guys to swing at the pitches that are within the zone and then disappear out of the zone, instead of waiting, making him throw a strike into the zone and then damaging it.
I don't know if you said it. Yes or no? Do you send him down?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Get him right. Get him straight. Get his head right. But don't just do it for like a start or 2. Make this an assignment. Make it 10 starts. Make it something worthwhile. He did when he was in in AA. Every time he's been in AA, he has really struggled. He had a 5 and a 5 ERA 2 separate times in AA, and then he got a promotion to AAA. So to me, I'm saying, okay, let him prove at AAA over a course of 10 starts.
Is that promotion just because of stuff?
Yes.
That promotion is they're just looking at stuff and they're not looking at, you know, what the numbers yield in terms of, you know, strikeouts, walks, ERA, wins. They're just saying the stuff is major league ready. It's AAA stuff. It's major league stuff. Is that the right way to be grading it?
It's one way to grade it. It's so when you're looking at it and you're from this, my front office hat on, I'll throw that on there. When you're looking at this, I can't just look at their numbers and determine somebody's success ratio at another level. I'm looking at their stuff and saying, does this stuff grade out against major league hitters? We know the spin rates, we know the movements, and yes, it does. And Jack Leiter's stuff is amazing. So sometimes you say, you know what? Let's give him a promotion and see if he can pitch better against better hitters. And you know what? He did against AAA hitters. He pitched better than he did against AA hitters. Now, I want to see him go back down and see a long haul. Let's see a 2 months worth of starts. And then when you come up, now he's ready. He's determined. He knows exactly who he is as a pitcher in pro ball. And we can keep him in the big leagues.
When this episode of That Other Baseball Show continues, load management. It's a big thing in the NBA. It's coming to Major League Baseball if it's not already here. David says no to it. That's a 162 game season. You got to figure something out. We're coming back. Don't go anywhere. Rolling along with another episode of That Other Baseball Show. We talked some pitching. We'll do a little more pitching later on. We got some Paul Skenes to talk about. But load management. There's two big stories in baseball this week. I guess we could talk about both of them. But load management is one. Swing speed apparently is the other. I know. Everybody wants to talk about swing speed. Yeah, look, we use it in golf all the time. We always talk about club head speed and all that stuff. I don't see why it wouldn't matter for something like baseball. But talk about load management first, because it's worked so well in the NBA, by the way. Hey, let's go spend $200 to go see the G League team of the Nuggets because we decided we're going to sit Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray tonight. I mean, really? Are we going to do this? Major League Baseball, this is where we're going? Load management? Are you surprised? I mean, look, I played baseball on a high school level, recreational level, stuff like that. This is not that strenuous of a game, David Aardsma. Do we really need load management? I mean, you're a reliever, so you're always getting load management. I mean, you're not pitching every day. You're always getting load management is a regular thing for you guys. But I mean, come on, really? We're gonna do 120 games for Aaron Judge is going to be the norm every year.
Okay, let me put this way. So there's two kind of conversations in this, and again, front office hat's still on. I forgot to take it off. We've had load management in the minor leagues for a long time. But to us, it was wearing trackables, measuring how much guys move every day, how many extra swings are they taking. You don't realize how many swings or how many throws a guy makes before they play baseball. So we were tracking, we were having pitchers throwing 120 throws before the game, and then going out there and pitching. And so we start realizing, I think for us, it was like a big giant, boom, blowing your head off, realizing that these guys are doing a lot more than you think they're doing. That's load management in a player development kind of portal. So it's okay. How do we make this simpler? Instead of running from this field to that field to this field, okay, how can we manage this so that we kind of take the load off there so we can get more on the field, right? And then with pitchers, it's like, okay, how do we tell them don't throw so much, throw a little less so we can get more out of the game? Okay. When we're talking about load management in the big leagues, though, we're talking about games played and stress on the body. God, no, I hope they don't do this. God, I think this is the dumbest idea. I think it's smart to understand when your body is breaking down.
Sure.
And that being, okay, if we can track that and you understand you've had a lot more stress, that your acute to chronic workload, your acute workload's gone through the roof.
All right, what's acute? All right, stop. What the hell's acute workload?
Acute workload. So like your day. How much work did you do today? So imagine if you're doing nothing, then all of a sudden you go run a marathon. Your acute workload just went through the roof.
Right.
But your chronic over a month really didn't move much because it's just one blip. Now, if you add a whole ton of acute, that's how you can get injured really quick. But you want it with pitching, especially. This is why you build up. So you want the chronic to slowly build up over time. That's why we have spring training where we go 1 inning, 2 inning, 3 innings, 4 innings, instead of going 1, 2, 5, 1, 4, 3. So you want it to be a solid pace and never have this giant spikes or giant bottoms too. You don't want the bottom to fall out either. You can't have a whole week off and then all of a sudden pitch 5 innings the next day. So we just want to be careful instead of that one day saying, all right, well, Aaron Judge literally today ran an extra 2 miles versus the last 2 months. Every day he's never ran that. Okay, well, tomorrow he might be a little beat up. Let's just take a day off, or maybe that day make him the DH. And so we've gotten a lot smarter with that. And so be smart with it. But the NBA, the way the NBA has done it is just a joke. It's an absolute joke because nothing's really changed in the NBA. The speed hasn't changed. The court hasn't changed. Nothing else changed. And baseball,
guys are still getting hurt. I was just talking about this on Sports Wrap. You have a postseason with no Giannis Antetokounmpo. Damian Lillard's hurt. Kawhi Leonard's hurt. Luka Doncic is playing hurt. The Knicks are missing half their roster. I mean, Donovan Mitchell's out. I mean, we can keep going on and on. And this is all in the era of NBA load management.
And that's not working. And we're not seeing better athletes on the field healthier. And that's the thing about it. In baseball, at least one thing has changed, and it's the velocity of the pitcher and their workload has changed. Well, less workload, more like harder work, though. So every pitch is harder, but you're doing them less. So we have this weird balance. But what else has changed in the game?
Well, but let me ask you something. And I've always wanted to ask another pitcher this, somebody who's actually played the game. One of the things I always used to hear was the famous saying from Jim Cott when it came to pitch counts and number of innings and all this stuff. The old saying being, with the arm, it'll rust off before it'll wear off. As somebody who's been a pitcher and pitched, in the major leagues spent a decade in Major League Baseball, is he right? Is he right to say that? Or was it right for his era and the kind of guys who were throwing then and what pitches they were throwing and how hard they were throwing and maybe what the regimens were like then versus what they are now? Is what he's saying accurate?
I think you said it correct. In his era, with how we viewed pitching and how so many things have changed since then. And it's not that we are a lot stronger. We understand how to take care of our bodies a lot more. But we're also putting different stresses on our body. Like the radar gun, spin rate, understanding how to pitch is a different game now. Well, you can't just go out there and 1995 Greg Maddux it and just plan to go in the 9 innings and just move the ball and get ground balls. You'll never get through the minor leagues like that. So the problem is when we get these kids in high school and college and the minor leagues, we're telling them harder, better spin rate. Instead of throwing that get me over curveball, it always has to be your best curveball, the hardest one you've ever thrown in your life. Every day, your arm is going to fall off.
Jim Cott, can I tell you something? Yes. I'm sorry, I got to interrupt.
Love it.
Jim Cott in 1966. Through 19, I know I'm going to sound like the old guy on the front porch with Country Time Lemonade and saying,
let's hear it.
He threw 19 complete games in 1966, 304 innings. I'll do you one better. In his age 36 season, in 1975, he threw 303 innings. By the way, gave up 321 hits, which means they had a long leash on him. I got to get caught on the show. 303 innings, 321 hits, 12 complete games, pitched to a 3.11 ERA, by the way. Jim Cott belongs in the Hall of Fame. I've always felt that.
Yes. I've always believed that too. But that's a stud, man. But that's how we built. They were workhorses.
Now threw 180 complete games.
Yes. But you know what? And I was thinking about this. How do I describe it? We used to describe the season as a marathon.
Yeah.
It is not anymore. It's short sprints as fast as you can go every time you get on that mound. It's not 9 innings. Their job is not 9 innings anymore and to manage a game.
Will it ever go back? Can you ever see it going back to that?
Never. I think it's going to get less and less. I think you're going to have 3 innings.
Because now there is this conversation. Because now there is this conversation of the starting pitcher just being marginalized. And you see the trend line going down in terms of innings pitched and all of that. You don't think there will be some teams that buck the trend, that the whole game's just going in that direction?
I think what you're going to end up seeing is teams go the other way with a Rays, like a Dodgers, where somebody goes 3 innings, someone else goes 3 innings, and one other guy goes 3 innings, and maybe a batter guy in there every now and then. But if you can make the best 9 batters you can possibly put in a row and get 9 outs, that's what they're going to see. And then every data point we ever shows that we're moving to this other way. The moment you see a hitter twice, that hitter is now a slightly better advantage towards you, right? And so we're going to get away from that. And as far as possible, I don't think we'll ever go back. Now, there might be guys, but let's not forget, don't let the exception be the rule.
You're going to hate.
I don't like it. It doesn't sit right. I don't like it. But Major League Baseball is about getting outs, and it's not about looking pretty doing it.
You're going to hate me for what I'm about to say. It might be the end of our friendship. It might be the end of the show. You might just click end on this call when I'm saying what I'm about to say. One of the things I have always said for many years on the air, before I started deciding to host a show with a major league relief pitcher, a guy who's made primarily his living as a relief pitcher, I used to always say this: relievers are relievers for a reason. They're failed starters. In a lot of instances, they are failed starters. I hate that I say it, but if you went and Googled enough, you'd probably find a video of me saying it. So it's me. It's like I'm doing the Michael Cohen thing. We're getting all the bad stuff out of the way as quick as we can, because we know on cross I'm just going to get hammered. I have always said relievers are relievers for a reason. They're good for an inning. They're good for 2 innings. They don't have enough pitches they can throw, whatever it may be. And instead, now we're turning the game over to those relievers and hoping to get 15 outs or 12 outs every single game. I don't see how it's sustainable. I don't know how it's sustainable.
But we became relievers. I am on your same page. I've always said this.
Don't hate
I'm a
me.
reliever
Please
because
don't
I
hate
sucked
me.
as a starter at some point. Every reliever in baseball, every single one sucked as a starter at some point and had to find another job. But I wasn't a good starter because I couldn't pitch 7 innings. I couldn't miss enough bats or get enough ground balls, enough early outs. I missed bats and got foul balls and threw balls. I wasn't ground ball machine. Baseball was a ground ball machine. How quickly can we get 27 outs? I couldn't do it. So I became a reliever and became very good. That's the thing, though, is if we can get these guys, stop thinking about it as relievers, just thinking it as middle of the game pitchers that are really good at 9 outs. Now, they don't need to go 6. They don't need to go 9 innings. They just need to get 9 outs. And the moment they get to another hitter that they've already faced, this is my all theory, man. This is crazy David Aardsma theory. I am very, very crazy. But we're relievers because we couldn't go through the lineup 2 times.
Right.
So now let's take advantage of that and use that. Now, if instead of we're using a reliever every other night, the same guy every other night, we'll use him once every 4 days. And now we're constantly fresh, and we have a couple guys to use every night. And so it's there's a way to make this work. Unfortunately, I don't like any of this.
Yeah.
I don't like any of it. I want my starter to go 9 innings. When Felix Hernandez was pitching, that was like the greatest game in the world because I got to sit back and watch a gem and probably not have to do anything and get paid to do it. But
Max Scherzer in his prime, Roy Halladay in his prime. Those guys could go deep into the
still has the most clear, has the most complete game since 2009 or something like that.
Yep. We're going to continue the conversation. Speaking of pitching, by the way, the Yankees. They won on Thursday. Clark Schmidt went 8 innings in Minnesota as the Yankees sweep the Twins. But the Yankees have some problems on the horizon, and it may not be the kind of problems you're thinking of. We'll get to it next as That Other Baseball Show continues. That Other Baseball Show continues. Good to have you with us this week as we run through the world of Major League Baseball with David Aardsma, who has so graciously decided to stay on board after I admitted one of my biggest sayings that I've ever talked about whenever I talk about teams that, the Dave Roberts Dodgers method of running guys out there for 4 and 5 innings and trying to get 15 outs from a bullpen. I've always said relievers are relievers for a reason. And I just admitted that to David, and he has graciously decided to stay on for at least the rest of this show. I can't speak for what happens beyond that, but he's agreed to stay on.
Just just a little bit. We'll see. You gotta recover here somehow.
All right, I'm gonna try. Yankees roster problems. Look, they're 30-15 right now. I mean, they're playing .667 baseball. You couldn't, they're winning 67% of their games. The bats are starting to wake up. You're seeing Gleyber Torres start to swing better. Judge hitting balls a mile. Giancarlo Stanton's even hitting the ball better. He's not batting 200. You find out he's got the fastest swing speed, whatever the hell that means, because it clearly doesn't mean much for him. And you still have concerns about the Yankees because now the problem is, where are you going to put guys? Jasson Dominguez has started his rehab assignment down in Tampa. Got a base hit off of, I think, Domingo Germán, if I'm not mistaken, in his first at-bat, which is kind of crazy to see that he's facing him. So you've got Jasson Dominguez, who's going to come back. Where are you going to put him? You got Gerrit Cole, who's throwing and slowly accelerating the pace with which they're trying to get him ready to return to this team. And so far, knock on wood, everything's going okay so far there. Where are you going to put him? You got 5 guys that are all throwing so well. I mean, this rotation is the best in baseball right now. What do? Do you just take your time with Cole? That's going to drive him nuts. But start with Cole here, being the pitcher, David. Do you just take your time and wait for somebody to get hurt, as inevitably somebody will?
How do you take your time with the reigning Cy Young winner,
He's
right?
the best
How
rotation in baseball
right
right now. Do you go 6-man rotation? Throw something at me here, because I'm a Yankee fan, and I don't know what the hell they do.
Okay, so one of the cool things about being with the Yankees and rehabbing with them, they had this pretty neat little viewpoint is whenever you tell them you're ready, they do one more outing. And you kind of have to tell them you're ready. It's kind of like be a big boy about this. Walk into the office and put your fist on the ground and say, I'm ready. And then they're like, cool, one more. Just to make sure, right? Because they pretty much know what we all do is lie to them and tell them we're ready when we're not. But we just have that fire and we want to get up there. Gerrit Cole, this is, if I'm the Yankees, I pump the brakes just a little in an idea of just make sure we're checking every box. Take your time. Make sure, Gerrit, that you are good. We don't need you to come back not 100%. And I would have that conversation with them like, hey, we want you back. We're going to have you for this run and we're going to kill it. You better be 100%. Let's check those boxes. And you know what? Take your time with it. Breathe. And then when he tells you you're ready, cool, one more start. Then I go 6-man. Without a doubt, I go 6-man right now. It changes the whole outlook of the Yankees. It changes everything. But who are you going to move? The only one that is not gangbusters right now is Nestor Cortez, who still is a very good pitcher and very, 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 very tough competitor and will give you outings. And honestly, against most of these guys, I'm going to take him, even though if he doesn't have the better numbers, because I know what I'm going to get all the time. I mean, Luis Gil, he's would so look like good. The man out, but he's pitching great.
You can't. Now, the only thing I'll say to that is he has options.
He has options. I might move him to the bullpen, make him still. You don't change this team. You don't change everything.
You want him out
At
there
the end of the day, you know it's going to be Gil.
But you're
in
it's
going to be Gil.
But if it's Gil, you're talking you want him to be out there every 5th day. So don't you send him down if he has options? Why not send him down? Go 5-man and get him out there, and at least he's getting his reps every 5th day. You're keeping him in that sort of environment as opposed to being a long man. And now if you want to go 6-man, fine. That's my solution to the pitching problem is go 6-man. But especially with Cole just working his way back, give him the extra day. I don't have a problem with that. But if you're going to go 5-man, I send him down because he has options.
And that's unfortunately what happens when you only have a year plus of service time in the major leagues. Wear it. Doesn't matter how good you are. The Cy Young winner is coming back. That's what's going to happen. Now, if I was the Yankees and I would have a really deep conversation about going 6-man. And just because you have to look at this realistically.
Is that in their DNA as an organization, though?
No. You can't do it. You can't do it.
Even as being as analytics-based as they are, they can't find a rationalization to go 6-man?
The rationalization they're going to have to come and have hit across their face with a 2x4 is that you can never trust Rendon, Stroman, to be healthy all year. And now you have question marks about your reigning Cy Young winner coming in. That's the rationale, is this should be the training staff basically leading this with the pitching coach saying, let's look at the reality of this. If we want to talk about load management, let's talk about a 6-man rotation and continue this out. It still gives Heel a time to be in this rotation and to continue his success. It just kind of gets in a weird spot once you get to September and you get to October when those games really do matter. Do you keep going 6-man? Do you move into 5-man? I mean, the Braves for years would go to 5 and then to 4. Do you go 6 and then to 5 when it starts mattering, and then you cut off the fat once you get to to the playoffs? This is a good problem that the Yankees have not had in a long time.
No, most teams don't have, because again, you still expect somebody's going to go down. Somebody's going to tweak a groin or a hamstring or an adductor. Somebody's going to get hurt somewhere along the way. All right, focus it now on the bats, because again, you've got a team who's starting to hit. You've got too many outfielders already, and now you're going to bring Jasson Dominguez back, who can only DH because he can't throw. You've got a guy that's basically only a DH in Giancarlo Stanton, and he's actually starting to swing the bat well. Is the solution keep Dominguez ultimately at AAA and just let him get some more seasoning there? He ain't going to like it, but is that the only option?
Sometimes you're the odd man out.
Trent Grisham?
That stinks.
I don't know. Trent Grisham, you traded, for Trent Grisham, so I don't see you doing anything with him.
You're not moving Grisham. I mean, Birdie's a really interesting guy because he can play everything.
Yeah.
He provides so much value to you up and down, but the end of the day is John Birdie move the needle for you? Right. This is a team, though, that needs somebody that can play a lot of positions, and that's his real value. Is that it doesn't matter. You can pretty much put some pads on him, make him a catcher, get him some innings on pitching. He's done it and actually done it pretty well in the past. Infield, outfield, DH. He could do everything.
He's Randy Velarde. He's like Randy Velarde.
Right? Everything at a sustainable level, but does he move the needle in any single really way for your team? And the end of the day is no.
You're going to carry all those outfielders, though? You're going to have 2 guys in your lineup that can only DH? You're going to have 2 guys on your bench that literally can only DH? I don't think you can do that.
Facing. Stop signing so many outfielders. Stop bringing them in. Stop trading everything for Soto and then going, oh, we got too many outfielders. That's where it comes to a head. It's either at the end of the day is you keep him in the minors or John Birdie's out.
I think he's staying. I think they're going to keep him in the minors. If I had to predict, I think they'll let him get all of his, because again, even in the major league level, where's his at-bats coming? At whose expense? No. Even if you have him up there, I'd rather have him playing every day at AAA and getting better.
Right. Look at this lineup. These are the guys he has to beat somehow right now. Mm-hmm. Right. Juan Soto. Nope. Aaron Judge. Good luck. Yeah. Alex Verdugo.
No.
Nope. Giancarlo Stanton. No. You ain't playing. You're not playing. And I think that's a smart idea, is keep him in the minors. At least he's playing. At least, and it's justifiable to him to say, you're not going to get at-bats. You're not going to play right now in the big leagues. But with those 4 guys, he wasn't going to play anyways.
And look, I mean, water's wet. Giancarlo Stanton will get hurt at some point this year. Not like he's running hard, so I don't know how he gets hurt. But he's gonna get hurt at some point. He's gonna pull something somewhere.
And that's your spot.
Yeah, and that'll be his spot. That'll be his opportunity. All right, we got a lot more to do on this edition of That Other Baseball Show. The San Francisco Giants have some major injury problems. I want to find out from David Aardsma, what happens in a locker room when seemingly everything is going wrong? That's next on Tobbs. All right, just about time to wrap things up on this week's edition of That Other Baseball Show. All right, David Aardsma, Paul Skenes has arrived. Good as advertised. You saw his first start. 16 pitches over 100 miles an hour. Lights out stuff. It feels like he's only going to get stronger. I know, he gave up a home run to Nico Horner, and we were talking about it on Sports Wrap. My sidekick Sam was saying that's the kind of guy that would hit a Paul Skenes, a guy who's bat to ball, because you could just use his velocity against him in that sort of situation. Somebody who's quick to the ball. Yes. All that aside, what did you make of Paul Skenes' debut? We talked so much about him before he started, so I want to know what you think.
I thought it was a great outing. I thought it was a wonderful outing for a major league debut.
There's a butt coming. I can already feel it.
Well, I'm not gonna walk away and go, wow, oh my God. Yes, the numbers blow you away. The fastball blows you away. Slider, incredible. Split's great. But I'm not walking away going, oh, that was perfect. It wasn't. Second inning, got bases loaded, got out of it. Great start. Struck out the first batter he ever faced in Major League Baseball. Saved that ball. Save it for a long time. It might be an incredible ball. Maybe Hall of Fame ball. Next inning, got bases loaded. Then he gets into a little bit of trouble in the fourth, right? He had the home run, and then he had couple guys on. So 4 1/3, something like that, 3 1/3, whatever the innings were, four innings. Great start. I just want to see him grow every start. And what's horrible about this is he pitches against the Cubs. Next start is against the Cubs again. So if there's ever like a deck against you, it is this one, because we talked about it, the more a hitter sees you, the better they are going to be against you. And any rookie never wants to see the same team twice. God, that is horrible. But he has amazing stuff. Great head. He knows how to pitch. We've seen him do it now. I want to see him now face Nico and do a little bit better. See how he can pitch him again. See that second inning and just rock it a little bit more. Be a little bit more consistent in the zone so you're not getting into trouble. And then I want to see the bullpen guy help him out a little bit. He comes out of the ball game, hit by pitch, ball four. And you're walking in his runs. That's a little dagger in the heart versus not being able to walk away with a win. Now, let's see, Paul, I just want to see you pitch. Go out there and pitch. Don't blow me away with your stuff. Show me you know how to pitch and get out of these innings without having to have bases loaded or get into trouble.
I loved what I saw out of him. My biggest question with somebody like this is how quick do they flame out? Because we see these guys that throw this hard, and how many of them I think a Jobber Chamberlain is a name that comes to mind. We see too many of these guys where this sort of thing happens and they wind up burning out. That's my concern long term with somebody like this, that they wind up being a baseball equivalent of a meteor that just shoots across the sky. Enjoy it while it's here because it's not going to last very long. I hope that's not the case. But with all these hard throwers, you just have to ask, how sustainable is it? What length of time is it going to be sustainable for? That's ultimately my biggest concern. Focus on the San Francisco Giants here for a few minutes. I mean, my God, a house of horrors. I mean, everything that can go wrong for this team right now seems to be. And then when you think it can't get any worse, Jung-Ho Lee goes to catch a ball that goes off the top of the wall for a home run against the Reds. Separates or dislocates his shoulder. He's going to be out for an extended period of time. What I want to ask you is, and this is why I love talking to you and doing this with you, is because you can answer all the things that we like to think we can answer as sports talk hosts, but we really have no idea because we've never been in that situation. Bunch of professionals in a locker room. Everything's going wrong. How do you hold it together as a team? Is Dyer in the locker room? Is it a woe is me, this feeling of dread in the locker room as much as we think it is?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It because you can sustain an injury. You can sustain the Yankees are watching like Gerrit Cole go down.
Right.
You can sustain this. You can sustain the Cy Young winner going down. You can do it. You can get through it. When you're looking at this team and the amount of players hurt, what happens is when you get kicked in the nuts, like it hurts. But then you just get kicked again and kicked again and kicked again. We're looking at all-star lineup and on the injured list, and that's just their regular roster players or regular lineup players, let alone you're looking at Robbie Ray, Snell, Cobb, hurt on the pitching side. Soler, Lee, Conforto, Ahmed. Like this is that was the core of their team, especially when you bring in a guy like Blake Snell. That is the one that really hurts because that's the little extra oomph you're looking for as a team when you sign Blake Snell. Yes, the front office cares about us. The front office believes in us. Everybody goes, yes, we got this. And then he goes down. You're like, what? Like the Cy Young winner? That Cy Young winner. We have other ones, but that one? And then you just start getting kicked again and kicked again. That's when it starts becoming devastating and starts becoming hard. Now, with really good teams, and if you have a great culture and a great base of guys, and you bring in the right players, this is what's important about free agency. This is why we talk about clubhouse guys. You don't want to just go get the best player. You want to bring the best player to your team. Mm-hmm. And I do think they've got some really good clubhouse players on this team. So when you bring a guy like Matt Chapman in, he has to step up. And no longer can you just be there. You have to be a leader now. And that's what's hard is you're asking new players to become leaders. Usually you want those guys to be able to just kind of get comfortable, get their feet under them. When you're asking new players to become leaders is usually when teams fail.
It's going to be exhilarating when all of them come back. I mean, right now it's Conforto, right hamstring strain. And you know how hamstrings can be.
Oof.
Patrick Bailey, concussion. Could be back late May. Blake Snell, the last time we were on, he was still hurt. This is exactly what we were talking about. When's Blake Snell going to be able to come back? You don't know with an adductor strain. Talking about potentially end of this month for Blake Snell. Jorge Soler, should be back, right shoulder strain that he's been dealing with. I mean, they signed Kurt Casale. Here is the one bright spot, though, to all of this. I have been a huge Marco Luciano guy. Ever since, they got him as like an 18-year-old or something like that, 17-year-old. He has been called up, and I'm hoping he can really provide a spark for that team, sort of the way Casey Schmidt did when he came up initially. I'm hoping Marco Luciano could be that kind of guy. Extremely talented infielder. Maybe this is the time he starts to put it all together. We'll have to wait and see.
That'd be great. And they need it, though. They need somebody to bring some energy, bring some, we talked about Juan Soto moving to the Yankees. Again, None of these guys are Juan Soto, but that energy, that fire, and you have to have something like that. Maybe getting some of these young guys up kind of gives a little fire on everybody's butts and they play a little harder because they've got nothing to lose. What's the worst that happens? The guy gets healthy and they go back down to minors. So play with a little fire, play like with your heart, your life depends on it. I would also say this, though. The only other good thing is the bullpen's staying healthy. Bullpen's generally been really healthy. The problem is they're the fourth worst bullpen in baseball. That's probably the only place you would actually want these guys to have injuries, if you did have injuries, is in the bullpen, but they're staying healthy and not pitching well. So they've kind of gotten it from all angles right now, and it doesn't help that the Dodgers are just running.
Yep, they're the Dodgers.
Fully running.
Yep, 29-16. Giants 9 games back right now at 20-25, and you're basically already 45 games into the season, relegated to thinking about, all right, how can we be a wild card team? Yep. You already have to shift your mindset in some
and they're
way.
Not crazy out. They're a game and a half out of wild card.
No, of course, it's a quarter of the way through the season. There's going to be a lot of fluctuations there.
Yes.
But to me, I would almost think you have to start kind of mentally stealing yourself for the fact that the division's already gone. This isn't the AL West where you've got teams sort of scrapping at the top of the division and Seattle and Texas are sort of leading the way. This is the Dodgers division, which it probably was before the season started anyway, even though I was a proponent of the idea that the Giants could compete in that division. Obviously now that's not going to be the case. All right. That's going to wrap it up for this week's show. Thank you, David. We'll see you all back here next week. Another edition of That Other Baseball Show.